Coming. Be'ez Hashem, today's daf is Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Pei Beis 82, and we're going to begin from the Mishnah on Daf Pei Aleph Amid Beis. And what we're discussing over here is that we learned that there's four Mises Bezdin where the court kills you. Here we're going to learn that there's certain sins that a person does that anybody who's motivated with a zealot, he's a zealot who's motivated for the sake of God, he has a right to kill you, to kill that person that did this Aveira. So the Mishnah lists off, and some of that you're familiar from the Chumash, but you'll see in the Mishnah. Hagoyniv es a kasva. Someone steals a vessel from the Beis Hamikdash. We'll see with that. He steals something. Now, normally stealing is just an Aveira that you get a lav or whatever. Here, you're going to find that if someone sees somebody stealing from the Beis Hamikdash, he has a right to kill him. V'makalel b'koisim, someone who curses God, so to speak, invoking the name of a sorcerer. Okay, so that is the next thing. If you see somebody cursing the Eibishter, even though he's not using God's name to curse the Eibishter, somebody else could come and kill him. Hi, Lewis. We just began. We're on Daf Pei Aleph Amid Beis by the Mishnah. And we're discussing over here certain cases where anybody can kill somebody who is doing an Aveira, for these specific Aveiras. If you see somebody, Vahaboyel Aramis, he's having relations with a Goy. So then, Kanoim Poigim Bay. In all these cases, a zealot can actually strike that person and kill him. And we find that Pinchas did that in the Torah when he killed Zimri, who was having relations with Cosby in Parshas Balak, and the Parshas Balak. Then the Mishnah says like this: Koyin sheshimish betuma, a koyin that's doing the service in the Beis Hamikdash with Toma, ein echav kahanim. Now, really, he should get malchus for that. So the answer is ein echav kahanim avian oisei lebezdin. They don't bring him to Bezdin. Ella pirchei kahuna, the pirchei kahuna, Maitzian Oisa, the young Kahanim bring this guy out the Beis Hamikdash. Let's say they bring him down the part of the Temple Mount, Chutz Lazara, outside the Beis Hamikdash. Umaftzines boicha begeziren. They smash his head with sticks. So you see, sometimes we allow vigilantism to take the law in your own hand. Now the Mishnah says, Zor Shishimish Bamigdash, a Yisrael that did the service in the Beis Hamikdash, the Torah tells you, Vazar Akar of Yumas, but it doesn't tell you what death penalty does he get. Rakiva says you get chenek. He gets killed by heaven. It's not something that's subject to the Bezdin. So my kasva, the Mishnah said that if you steal a little kasva from the Beis Hamikdash, you get the death penalty. Somebody else can just, shoot you down while you're stealing it. What did you steal? Rav Yehuda Klisharis. You took a little vessel from the Beis Hamikdash. Kasva comes from word kasais, like the smallest, vessel or in the Beis Hamikdash, which was basically a tube a metal tube that held up the lechem upon him. So you get so that is what he stole. The Heichen Remiza, where does the Chumash say that you're allowed to kill a guy for stealing something from the Beis Hamikdash? Yes. You're not allowed to see somebody devouring something that belonging to the Beis Hamikdash, and if you see that, the Mesu, you have to kill him. All this is a remez. By the way, it's a halacha l'Moshe Messinai. All these things are halacha l'Moshe Messinai. That it's not written anywhere in the Torah, but in these three scenarios, the halacha l'Moshe Messinai says you're allowed to kill that person. V'makalel b'koisim, Tanu Rav Yosef, Yaka koisim es koisamoi, Rabbanim v'Temer Rav Mori Amri, Yakeu koisim loy u'lekoinu l'maknoi. The Gemara is just explaining how did a person curse Hashem invoking the name of a koisim. A koisim is somebody who was able to clear his mind and with ruach hatumah, to be able to bring on a power to speak the future. So he says that my guide, my talisman, so to speak, should curse or do something to the one that gave him power, to God, or he should do it to my friend and my friend's God, and everything like that. So that's that. Vahaboyel aramis. The Mishnah says that if you see somebody having relations with a goy, you're allowed to kill him. Boyimine Rav Kahana Marav. Rav Kahana asks from Rav. We go to Amid Aleph. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay. Now, Boyimine Rav Kahana from Rav. Okay. Boyibike loy kanoim poigim boy. Like pogu kanoim. Let's say the panoim did not kill him. What would happen to the guy who has relations with a guy? What's the big avera? It's a very good question. You have relations with a guy, what, and you're not like it's not an erva to you. So, inchib Rav legamare. Rav forgot what the answer is. Okay, hi Sheldon. We just began. We're on page
Okay.
Aleph, and we're discussing over here what's the big avera. What would happen for somebody who has relations with a guy? If you have relations with a guy in front of everybody, so we know from Pinchas in the parsha, you're allowed to kill that person, as he killed Zimri, who was having relations with Cosby. But let's say nobody killed him. What's going to happen to the guy? So Akru Rav Kahana Bechalmei, Rav Kahana had a dream, and it says he got this pasuk. He was dreaming about this pasuk. Bagdi Yehuda. Yehuda rebelled, v'se'eva nasasa b'Yisrael, something disgusting the Jewish people did, u'b'Yerushalayim, kichila Yehuda kodesh Hashem, that Yehuda desecrated what's holy to the Eibishter, asher of what the Eibishter loves, u'bal bas el nechar, and he had relations with a goy. So, Asa Amalei, so if Kahana told Rav, Hachiakriyan, this is what this pasuk came to my head in a dream. So Atke Rav Ligmare, Rav remembered now what the psak is, and what we're going to learn here is that a person who is going to have relations with a guy, he gets kares. God will somehow make him die young, but also he's not going to have nachas from his children. That's the thing. Bagda Yehuda zu avodah zara. Yehuda betrayed God by doing avodah zara. V'chein oimer. So that's one thing that the Jewish people at that time did. They were doing disgusting things. There was homosexuality at that time. This is before the destruction of the first temple. So the word te'eva always refers to homosexuality. They desecrated Zuzayna. There was immorality going on during the time of the first Beis Hamikdash. Not only was the immorality ubal bas el necha, they were having relations with goyim, zehabal goyim. They were having relations with goyim. So what happened? What did God promise them? Uksiv basrei, and Pasuk says right after that, Yachres Hashem leish, God will cut off the person, Asher Yasena, that will do these things, va'oina. Something va'oina will happen to the person, Yaakov, u'mangash minchel Hashem tzvakos. So what does that mean? Not only will he die young, in Talmud Chacham, who, if he happened to be a Talmud Chacham, he learned Torah, yet he did znus with a goy, lo yiyah lo er b'chachamim. He's not going to have a sharp child that will be able to learn amongst the Chachamim, va'oina b'talmidim, or if he already has a Talmud Chacham, as a son, that son is not going to have any students. In Kohenhu, if he's a Kohen, lo yeh ben magish minchel Hashem tzavakas, his children will be disqualified somehow from doing the service. So somehow, basically, what the Chumash is saying, what the Tanakh is saying, that those that were boy goyim, they will not have nachas from their children. Omar Abchia bar Avua, call haboa al goya. If someone has relations with a goy, kila mischaten ba'avodah zara, as if you become a son-in-law with avodah zara. What this all means is that basically, when you have relations with a goy, somehow you're connected to their idolatry. And that's what we're discussing over here. Obviously, it's also to have relations with a goy, but what the Gemara is sticking with is that is with relations with a guy, particularly that will bring you to do avodah zarah, and that's where kanoim you're allowed to kill that person. When we say that you're allowed to kill a person that does znus with a goita, it's the type of goita that does idol worship, like you find in the Chumash that Cosby was an idol worshiper and Zimri was having relations and Pinchas killed them. But if it's a goy that goita that's Makabel Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach, then we're not discussing. Then you're not allowed to kill that person. But anyway, b'kol aboel goya, if anyone has relations on it with a shiksa, ke'ilim ischatim b'avodah zarah, it's as if he had became a son-in-law with avodah zarah. T'ksiv ubal bas el nechar. You had relations with the daughter of an idol. Does an idol have a daughter? If you have relations with a Gentile, and so that's as if you became a son-in-law to idolatry. The Chia bar Avua said, Kosuv, it says in the Pasuk, now the Gemara is going to tell you a fantastic story. The Pasuk says, Al Gulgoltoi Shel Yayakim. It was written on the skull of Yayakim. Yayakim was a king, one of the last kings of Yehuda, and he was so abominable, doing avodah zarah and all sorts of bad, immoral things, that when he died, God promised he'll never get buried. Zois void acheres. And not only that, something else is going to happen to him. So that was written on his skull. So the Gemara says like this, a fantastic story. Zekenai de Rapreda, the grandfather of Rapreda, which is I think Chia bar Avua, Ashkach, he was walking and he found Hahu Gulgolta, the Havishadi B'Shari Yerushalayim, that this skull was thrown at one of the gates of Jerusalem. And he found it there. And then he sees that on the skull it was written somehow by heaven, the word Zois, this is going to happen to the person, Va'oid Acheres, and something else is going to happen to the person. So he knew that this skull belonged to this evil king, this evil Jewish king called Yahayakum. So Kavora, he tried to bury it, V'hadanavik, and then it rose up again. Somehow the earth didn't accept him. Kavrua, he buried this skull, V'hadanavik, and it came up again. Omar, so he knew, Hi Gulgolta Shal Yayakim. This is the skull belonging to Yayakim. The Ksiv Beich Kavuras Chamar Yikaver Safek V'hashek V'holad L'Shari Yerushalayim. That he was going to be buried like a donkey, thrown to the side, and somehow it's never going to get into the earth. And he was found by the gates of Jerusalem. So that was his forensic test, that he knew that this skull belonged to Yaakov. Amma, so he said to himself, Malku, this is a king. V'lav arach ara lav zuyeh. It's not nice to degrade a king. At the end of the day, Yaakov was a king. Shakla, he took it, karcha b'shirah, wrapped it up in silk, v'aisve b'sifta, and put it in a chest in his house. And he didn't. One thing he forgot to do was tell his wife. Also, Devesa, his wife is coming, the Chazise, and she was doing cleaning. Nafkit, and she found it, and she took it out, the skull. Amr l'lisha bahu saha, she told her neighbors or friends, hey, I found a skull in my house. Amr lay, so they told her, hi, the itzis kamaisi. This belonged to your husband's first wife. Deloy manshala, he has not forgotten her. So that's why he secretly kept her skull. So she heard that. She threw it into the oven and turned it into ashes. Ki asa Omar, when the grandfather of Rapreda came, which is Chia bar Avua, came home. I knew the ksiv. Now I understand. Eloi on this pasuk, Zois v'oidacheres. He was buried, thrown out. Not only that, his head was turned into ashes. His skull was turned into ashes. Says the Gemara, Ki also Rabdimi Rabtime said, came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel. Amar, he said, Bezdina shel Chashmonoi Gazru. The Bezdin of the Chashmonoim, which is time of the second temple, right? 200 before Common Era, they made a gate zera habo al goya, someone who has nus with a goita, with a Gentile. So then, if you do it in public, you chayiv misa, right? And if you do it in marriage, of course, you get malchus. but he did it in private, then he just had a one-time fling with a goya. Chayiv ala, he gets punished mishum nashgav. So need as it's as if he did these following aveiros. He had znus with a nida, a shivcha, um, uh, ashes ish, and the gimel is. I'm sorry, and the gimel. Yeah, the Gemara is going to say it. Goya, as if he had relations with a goya. And Aisha says, Kiasa Ravin, Amar, he said, Mishum Nashgaz. You get the Avera of Nashgaz. Nida, Shivcha, Goya, and a Zoina. Instead of Aisha Sish, Zoina. The question is that if you have relations with a guy, with a Gentile, and she's married to somebody else, to a guy, so is that considered a marriage? Do the goyim have the concept of marriage so that as if a Jew has relations with that goita, is it as if he has relations with an Ashish ish? So Rav Dimi says yes, and Ravin says no. Aval mishim ishus leslu. There's no such a thing of ishus by a goy. The idach and others. How really a goy doesn't make kedusha on his wife? So what makes them what makes them an Ashish is? They don't let their wives just become free for all. So they designated this lady as his wife. So if a Jew would have relations with that woman, it's as if he's having relations with an Ashish ish. So probably they gave him a lot of malchus, and as if he did all these four averis. Alma Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda said, now we're going back to the situation where you see somebody having zunus with a guy in public. With a guy in public. Rav Chizda said, so you're allowed to kill him. But Habali Molech, if you're going to ask, am I allowed to kill him? Ein Moiranai. We don't tell you you are. Either you know the halacha and you act upon it on your own, but if you never heard of it before, then we will not, tell you to go kill somebody. Itmanami Amar Rabba Babachon Rabbi Yochanan Haba Limolech Ein Moiranai. If you come to ask the question, am I allowed to do it? We don't permit you to do it. V'loi oid. And not only that, Pinchas killed Zimri, who was having relations with Cosby. Now, the only time you can kill somebody is if while they're connected to each other, where the man is connected with the Goya, with the B'shas, the intercourse. But if they separated, they finished, then you're not allowed to kill the man. If not only that, if Zimri would have separated from Cosby, the Hargai Pinchas, and Pinchas would have killed him, Neragalav, Pinchas would have been in trouble. He killed an innocent person. Nepes Zimri v'harak Pinchas. If Zimri was still connected to Cosby, he would have turned around and killed Pinchas. Because Pinchas was trying to kill him, Zimri could have killed Pinchas first. And Pinchas didn't have to kill Zimri. It's just he's allowed to kill Zimri. So if Zimri would have turned around and killed Pinchas, he would not be considered a murderer. What's the story of Cosby having Zimri having relations with Cosby? Why did he do that? So the Jews were doing avodah zarah. Most of the Jews that were doing the avodah zarah, Baal Par, was from Shevet Shimon. And Moshe said to the judges, to all the other Jews, now we should kill some of the people of Shevet Shimon for doing avodah zarah of the Baal Par. So Halach Shiftei Shel Shimon Eitzel Zimri. So the Shevet of Shimon went to their president of Zimri, Ben Solud. Amrulai, they said to him, Hein Donin Dini Fashas V'Ati Yoshev V'Saisik. Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to kill us, and you're sitting quietly. Me'asa, what did he do? Ahmed v'kibetz Chavdala Elef Yisrael. He gathered 24,000 Jews. V'Halach Eitzel Cosby, and went to the daughter of Balak, the daughter of the king of Cosby Bastur, which is one of the kings of Midian. And Amallah Hashmi Ili, I want to have relations with you. Amallah, she said to him, Bas Melechani, I'm a daughter of a king. V'chein tzivili avi, my father commanded me, Loi tishmu elegolish behem. Have no relations only to the top one. I should only have relations with Moshe Rabbeinu. Amallah, Zimri said to her, I'm also a president of a shevet. Moshe is a president of his shevet. I'm a president of mine. I'm greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. Shehu shevet sheni lebetem, who shlishi lebetem. I'm the president of Shevet Shimon, which is the second child of Yaakov, and Moshe is the president of Shevet Levi, which is the third child of Yaakov. Tafsa bivulai risa. He grabbed her by the hair while she was a goy. Vehaviyu eitzel Moshe and brought her to Moshe. Amar Loi, and he said to Moshe, Ben Amram, my son of Amram, zu asiroi amuteris. Am I allowed to have relations with this goya or not? V'im toy masur. If you can tell me that I'm not allowed to, bas yisra mi tir lechach, then you married a guy too. Right? Of course, Moshe Rabbeinu was before Matan Torah, but he was just trying to make a point that you also married somebody not from the tribe. This Alma Mena Halacha, Moshe Rabbeinu forgot one law that he was taught by the Eibishter. Go kul mechi. Everybody started to cry. As Zimri started to have relations in front of everybody, almost in front of everybody, that everybody knew he was having relations with this Goya, because nobody could do anything about it. Doesn't say in the Torah you're not allowed to. Uksiv vayar Pinchas ben Elazar. Pinchas saw. Ma ra, what did Pinchas saw? Rav said, Ra ma'asam niskar halacha. He saw what Zimri was doing, and he remembered the halacha. Amalai, he said, Achi avi abba, my grandfather's brother, which is Moshe Rabbeinu. Didn't you teach us when you came down from Mount Sinai that if you witness somebody, haboyel as a goya, that has relations with a goita, kanoim, a zilat, poigen boy, could kill that person? So Moshe was saying, said, you're right. Yona the Igarta, the one who read the letter, he should be the messenger. In other words, since you're the one that remembered then you have the rights to kill this person. Shmuel says, Vayar Pinchas means raw, she'ein chochma ve'in tvun ve'in eitz neged Hashem. Kol mokum sheyesh chil Hashem and cholkan kavel rav. He didn't want to give, actually, he didn't even ask Moshe Rabbeinu whether he should do it or not. According to Shmuel, he did it because since there was a chil Hashem, you don't give honor to your Rebbe and I say, oh, Rebbe, can I do it or maybe you should do it. He did it himself. Rabbi Yitzchak Omar Ablaza Ra'a Pinchas saw Shabal Malach v'Yishchus Bam. He saw that people are dying because there was a plague killing the Jewish people. Pinchas got up and took a spear. So he apparently went into the base medrash where Zimri was, and he had to bring a weapon. You don't go with a weapon to the base medrash. He took the metal part off the spear and put it in his clothing. And we go to Amud Beis, and he was going with the wood like a cane, the wood part of the spear as a cane, as a stick. Basically, he's going to sneak into the tent where Zimri is having relations with Cosby. And we're going to learn it wasn't like a 2-minute thing. As Zimri kept going at it with Cosby 60 times in that night, maybe more. When he reached the Shevet of Shimon, he was pretending that he also wants to have relations with Cosby. And he says, why should only Shevet Shimon have fun with this lady? I'm from Shevet Levi. I could have znus with her. So they said, let him go in. He also wants to have relations with this Goya. Hitiru Prushin Esadava. You see, such a story, even somebody who's so pious like Pinchas, he wants to do this act. And therefore he was let into the room, and it was just him, Zimri, and Cosby in the room where Zimri was having relations with Cosby, and he stabbed them. And he stabbed them so that they were both on one spear, and he killed them both into the loins. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Shisha Nisim Nasloi. 6 Nisim happened to Pinchas that day. The Pinchas. Echad Shahoyer Loi Zimri Lifroish Loi Pirish. Zimri should have stopped having relations and said to Pinchas, what are you doing here? He should have called for help as he saw that Pinchas was going to stab him, and he couldn't open his mouth to say something. That Pinchas's aim to kill them right by the loins in the organ of the man and the womb of the woman was precise. They didn't fall apart from the spear. In other words, when he lifted them up, they were like like you can see like a little watermelon cantaloupe on a little toothpick. So that's how he had them all on the spear. When he exited the room, they had to lift the top part of the door so that he can get out because the spear, was very high, and had he, put it down, they could have slipped off. The point was that he had to show everybody that the reason why he was allowed to kill Pinchas and Zimri and Cosby because he was killing them while they were in the act. The Echad Shabbat Malach V'Hishchas and people, and the Malach came and started killing out some of the people, so they were busy because what Pinchas did was assassinate one of the presidents of the Jewish people, a president in the Jewish people, like Zimri. When he came out of the room and he had the Zimri and Zimri and Cosby on the stick, he threw him in front of the Eibishter. And here Pinchas says a very special thing. He sort of like debated God in what kind of justice he's doing. Because at that point, God killed 24,000 Jews via plague. He said before him, Rabbeinu Shalom, Al Elu Yiplu Chafdal Em Yisrael, because of these two people having znus, 24,000 Jews are going to be killed. Shnema Vayu Amesim B'Megefa Abov Esim Elef. There were 24,000 killed in the plague. V'Hainu Diksiv Vayamid Pinchas Vayafala. Pinchas got up and he Vayafalo. Omer Rabbi Lazar Vayispala Loinema. He didn't pray. El Vayafala. He debated God in a strong way. Malamed Kavayacha Shasu Palilas in Kaine. He made a debate. He called God out on it. And this was almost like disrespectful way to speak to God. The angels wanted to push him away. So God said to them, let him talk this way. Kanoi ben Kanoi he is a zealot, the son of a zealot. Meshav Chema ben Meshav Chema, he's some who knows how to calm down the rage. The son of somebody who knows how to calm down the rage. Basically, he's the son of Aaron, and the son of Aaron, who also was able to calm down the rage, calm down the rage in the story about Korach. Okay, we'll go another minute and then we'll stop. The Shvatim started to embarrass Pinchas. And they said, you see, Pinchas, his grandfather, was Yisroi, and Yisroi fattened cows for idol worship. And therefore, in order to do that, you had to be somewhat of a cruel person. So they blamed Pinchas acting not out of zealotry, but of self-motivation. And because of him, he killed a president, a tzaddik from the Shevet of Yisrael. So Ba HaKos of Yachzai, so the pasuk repeats the yichus of Pinchas. They call him Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron Kohen. And he's really the son of Aaron the Kohen. He's really a peaceful person, and he's just doing it totally for the sake of God. Concludes the Gemara. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe, Hagdim lo shalom, selim, regards from me. Shnema lechein emo hinin noroisim leis brishi shalom. This action of forgiveness that Pinchas did should last forever. That means that he really brought upon a calmness of the Eibishter by doing this act of killing of the Zimri, which sort of like said to the Eibishter, oh wait, there's somebody that will stand up for my honor. And that's how the Gemara discusses the act of Zimri. Okay, we'll continue this Be'ez Hashem tomorrow to discuss more about it. And then we'll go on to the next topic.
Thank you.